You know, I think back on my Earlham experience often, and I credit Earlham with having played a very important part in the life that I enjoy today. My wife and I graduated from Earlham in the same year. My wife of today, you know, we weren't married then. And many of my best and closest lifelong friends are people that I met and worked with at Earlham College. The intellectual mentors that I may or may not have stayed in close contact with, but I think back on the lessons that they taught. Many of those people are Earlham professors. I'm Tom Farquhar. I graduated from Earlham College in 1977. I'm the owner and founder of Sandy Spring Gardens, a diversified vegetable operation here in Sandy Spring, Maryland, really the town in which I grew up. For 30 years I was head of school at 4 different institutions, and always kind of looking forward to that time when I could redirect my attention back to a full-time farming career. This is a young crop of beets. They're just coming along, not there yet. In another 2 weeks, these will be ready for market. Sidwell Friends is a school highly regarded in the Washington area, very selective, very popular, many applicants. The school offers a unique setting for nurturing young minds, for supporting families, for creating a powerful sense of community among an elite population, but also a very diverse population in Washington, D.C. So that was a great kind of platform for learning the ropes in this field, a field for which I had very little training, but I had to kind of learn, you know, on the job. I think in each of these experiences, and later when I came back to Sidwell Friends School as head of school, it was clear to me that the primary virtue of the institution was this quality that I first encountered at Earlham, that, you know, education is really about asking the right questions, about developing the tools for interrogating a problem in a profound and important and relevant way. I remember at Sidwell when, you know, an urban campus, not much opportunity to garden, but I remember being inspired by Mrs. Obama's focus in her arrival at the White House on the idea of gardening, of fresh vegetables, of improving the nutritional quality of food in schools. And you know, I knew Mrs. Obama and the President. The girls were at Sidwell Friends, and they were an inspiration to us on many levels. So we're addressing a nutritional question for the population through the food supply. We're addressing a carbon issue because conventional agriculture, protein-based animal production, feedlots, enormous amounts of greenhouse gases come out of that. And then the long-distance transportation of food from the place of production to the place of consumption is also a huge contributor to the carbon footprint of our society. What we're doing here, where it's very small scale, very local, our themes are hyper-local, hyper-fresh. And if we're selling vegetables within a 3 to 5 mile radius, vegetables that were grown here without toxic chemicals, with very minimal fossil fuel inputs, we're making a real difference. Now, you know, our little difference is minuscule, but if you take this system and replicate it tens of thousands of times around the country and around the world, now you've made a difference. Isn't that beautiful? An Earlham experience is challenging, it's immersive, and there's a constant focus on the questions rather than answers. I've been a financial supporter of Earlham, of course. I feel a great debt, and I continue to think as I, you know, now I'm in retirement, working, you know, many hours every week, but I've retired from my career in education. And I do think from time to time, and my wife and I think about, you know, how can we make a fuller contribution to Earlham in the years ahead? It's payback time at this stage of life. And we, as I say, we feel a great debt of gratitude to the college. The college represents so much that's important to us, that was formative for us in the adult lives that we've been privileged to lead. And will continue to be an important question for us, how we can help the college thrive in the decades ahead. When I think back about my years at Earlham, I think one of the distinctive features, and a really important, valuable feature, was that as a small college, there were opportunities for me to get involved in many different activities and areas of interest, to study many different subjects, and I didn't have to be the expert. I walked on campus thinking that I was a track athlete, and within less than a month I was playing volleyball with a group of upperclassmen who were skilled, and I had no skills and no experience. I had played volleyball once or twice at a picnic, but I was a jumper, and so they saw some potential in me. Now, if I'd been at a bigger school where everybody comes with prior experience, I never would have fit in there at all. There were many different areas, whether it was on the staff of the student newspaper at Earlham or on the volleyball team. I even did step onto the track a few times when my schedule would permit it, or in new areas of academic endeavor. There were places for me to be a novice in so many different ways. And being a novice is can be a scary experience. You don't have the expertise that some of the people around you have, and you've got a lot to learn. So the learning curve has to be very steep. So as an Earlham student, I think one has the chance to be exposed to many, many different challenging new experiences where you have to figure it out. And if I really think, beyond my Earlham experience to my early career and really throughout my career, it's like being in a new situation, having to figure it out. That's what it's always been for me.